Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to No Cupcake Zone podcast. To be updated with the latest podcast, please go to Spreaker and follow and like my podcast. Please also go to iTunes and subscribe and rate and review my podcast. If you want to be on the show or want information on my exclusive media package, contact me at johnsonmarce@gmail.com. That's JOHNSONMARCE@gmail.com. Also follow me on Twitter at NoCupcakeZone80. Thank you so much for listening. I want you to talk about the Veer offense. The reason I want you to talk about that for people out there. There's a lot of critics that says, this is, they need to open it up and it's too simple, blah, 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 Just talk about why the Veer works.
Well, why the Veer works, and you have to understand the concept behind the Veer and the way Coach Kramer runs the Veer. He runs it to be a fast break offense, so what he's doing, he's scheming the whole time. He's looking for matchups. He's trying to get the fastest players that he has in position to make plays. So everything when we get on the field is basically a read. He's trying to see if you got somebody out of position, if your linebacker ain't lined up. He's going to count the number of people on the field, and if we are strong on one side and y'all weak on the side, we're game planning to the numbers. And then we have landmarks that we're running to. We know we're going to get to the landmarks faster than anybody else. So that's how you guys are resident fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the landmarks and how we run the actual offense just makes it that much smoother for us.
So it's predicated on what the defense gives you.
Exactly, and that's what the defense don't know. We're waiting for you to move, so we know what to do. Well, then once you move,
right,
you just run into the alleys. And if you don't get there, you take one false step on defense, you have to be perfect every play. If not, we're going to light you up and score on you every single play.
But how do you beat a defense that can disguise itself?
A lot of this is the whole thing about beating a team that disguises their defense. You're gonna have to at some point in the game, you're gonna have to start on the team. Like it's gonna be predictable when we start shifting and start getting motion. The first time we put you in a bad position, we'll keep doing that until you stop it. Right. Now, once you stop it, we're gonna go the other way. It's never gonna be any time where you're gonna out-scheme our offense.
Right.
You're not gonna. If we got the athletes in place, you're not holding us under 28 or 35 points, and it's just proven with that offense. You're not holding them under 35 points, and you're barely gonna keep them under 28. Okay. And they're proving that against the best teams in America, the Centrals, the Glade Central, Miami Central, whoever big name team, the Miami Edisons, they've proven that point. They've never been shut out.
But let me ask you: are both running back positions interchangeable, or is it one is a featured back versus the other?
That would be telling the whole offense.
Okay.
But just put it this way: if you can look at statistically, if you look at the offense, my junior year, Dwayne averaged 12.3 yards per carry. I had 11.1 yards per carry. So you answer that question. Are they interchangeable? Is it the same position? Are they the same player? Like, the play can go anywhere at any given time. Like, we can audible to any. What you see on the right is probably what you're going to see on the left. So it's basically pick your poison.
But no, I saw there's that one year when Wayne did like a Peter Warrick tribute, basically wore number 9 because I know that was his favorite player and stuff. He was at quarterback, and it seemed like, I guess the question I'm asking, does the quarterbacks and the two backs have the same exact read?
No.
Okay. Because it looked like he went in and played quarterback like it was, he wasn't even a quarterback, but he went in there and played it pretty good. running the option.
Yeah, it's simple. The read option inside the veer offense is simple to run. It's predicated on somebody moving. You're either going to give the ball, or you're going to keep the ball, or you're going to pitch the ball. It's all about what that man does to you when you run at him. If he takes the dive, as a quarterback, keep it and run the option on the outside.
Right.
If you go to run the option on the outside, the man jumps the pitch, you just turn the ball upfield and go take off. If he comes in, he takes you, pitch the ball. Yeah. You can't stop it.
Last question I have for you about high school. This day and age, there's a lot more exposure that people get. Do you kind of feel, like not shortchanged in a way that we didn't have the technology and the exposure 10 years ago than what we have now? That if we had an exposure, Junior Denson would be, I guess, on ESPN and, top 50 recruits and stuff like that.
Most definitely, because right around the time that I was coming out of high school, that was the whole advent of recruiting websites and whatnot. Florida Varsity had just got on the scene. And so, it kind of got you out, kind of got you exposed, but it wasn't enough to get you nationwide. And to me, a lot of players in South Florida got robbed big time, because I ended up having to go on the road to do my own recruiting. I had to go to North Carolina to get my name out of there. So, I had went on a road trip with one of my coaches, and I had to go take my film. And, they were like, if we are known this type of talent was in Southwest Florida, we would go ahead and just come down there more often, but we don't really hear too much about you guys on Southwest Florida. And I said, that's a crying shame. Like, we're here doing the Nationals and Pop Warner, we're beating all these teams from Dade County, beating all these people, and yet they still don't know that we over here on this coast got a good brand of football. Going to my senior year, I had committed to NC State. I was in depression that that's where I was going.
Right.
I had went there and actually met with the coaches and the whole coaching staff from NC State. They saw my film. It was me, Bruce Gordon, Tony. I coached Tony, one of our defensive back coaches, and we were in there and we was watching film of the spring game I had against Bradenton and Manatee. And the coach watched about 2 or 3 players, and he's like, listen, don't move, don't go anywhere. I'm going to get Coach Amata. And Coach Amata came back, and he was like, yo, basically, I really like what we see, but we had no idea you guys were even down that far.
Wow. So I was going to go talk about the recruiting process. So were they right out the gate the first school to be heavy on you?
No, actually, that was the University of Florida. With Coach Dixon and Coach Spurrier, they had came down to start my senior year. Going to Brady, the first 2 years I played at high school, first year, I had the surgery on my shoulder, so my name wasn't going nowhere. The second year, I had something happen to my ankle. So going to the spring of my senior year, it was the first time in high school I had played a game where I wasn't injured or hurt, and that was a Bradenton Manatee game when they were ranked, like, in the state. And the New Rangers went off on them. There they had University was Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and a couple other coaches were there. And a few of them ended up talking to my mom and was asking her, like, if I had any offers yet or anything. She's like, yeah, not really. He has a bunch of letters, bunch of handwritten letters to people, but he doesn't have any offers. Coming into my senior year, that's when everybody started showing up at Naples. And I mean, the first coach that I met was Coach Dixon from Florida. And it's a crazy story what ended up happening at the end of my senior year with the University of Florida and with that whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is no cupcakes. I don't talk about it, bro.
Okay, what was my recruiting process? Going into my senior year, like I told you, I thought I was committed to NC State. The week, right before the week prior to right before the season had started, I was out. This is me going in high school. I'm 5'11", about 210, 205. Last player of the one of the last players of the blue and gold game, I had broke out on like a 40 or 50 yard run, and I only had one person to beat to make a cut. Like, and to get into the clear, and I had thought somebody was going to come cut back and block this dude, and they missed him. He came back and he cowboy collared and he snapped my ankle. I ended up tearing the tendon completely on my ankle and missed the first 3 games of my senior year. And when I seen that happen, the phone went cold. When I tell you cold, I didn't hear anything from anybody. Not even NC State. I ended up flying to NC State to go meet with the coaching staff the day they had to play Florida State, because I'm worried. Like, I haven't heard nothing from this coach. They invite me every single day.
So you had a verbal commitment with them.
Yeah, I told them I didn't want to play for anybody else but them. They had coach. If you look at the whole thing with NC State, fast forward 3 or 4 years after I leave high school, who signs to play running back for NC State?
Jamel Eugene. Yeah.
Bingo, that's how the door opened up from NC State. The pipeline came down for them to be recruiting at our high schools because they had a running back the year before, or a couple of years before that they had offered, and they had kept coming back down to see the talent. Because then after I had left, they heard about Wayne. Wayne was the next up. I think they offered Wayne too.
Yeah. So they just went cold. Did they have a recruiting coordinator change? Because there's a lot of turnover in those programs.
Yeah, what ended up happening was the guy that was recruiting me was the DB coach. The DB coach and Coach Snow. I guess I don't want to put anything on somebody. I guess they ended up finding out that I was injured, and I called the coach, and the coach is recruiting me, and I was like, I haven't heard anything from the coaching staff. I was wondering if my commitment was still solid. And it's like right now we kind of opened it up. Right now we haven't decided what kind of running back we're going to take. We got 3 or 4 kids in state that we're kind of looking at. And I just kept, I don't hear my name anymore mentioned when they're talking. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? He finally breaks it down. He's like, listen, we heard about your injury. We just don't know if you're going to come back and be the same player. That's a big gamble. You're coming out of state. We only got so many scholarships. And they say your injury's pretty bad. Like, you're going to need surgery. We don't know how long it's going to take for you to get back. And that was the message all the college coaches were getting, that I'm getting ready to have a major surgery on my ankle, and nobody knows when I'm coming back, if I'm going to be healthy and this and that. Am I going to keep the speed and keep the size? So I just started getting lost in the shuffle. And
right. Now, these things don't happen in a vacuum. Who was putting out that information?
I won't say.
There's no cupcake zone. You open up the can of worms. Well, you don't have to say any names. Was this seed planted by someone?
It could have been a particular coach or somebody. I can't necessarily say. I can't say, but if you call it to find out about
it was somebody had. I don't want to call it a vendetta, but somebody was feeling some type of way about Junior Denson.
I won't say they're feeling type of way. They're probably just putting the best interest. They have their name and things on the line. You got to remember that people are taking a recommendation and taking a word for certain players that they're trying to recommend to the school. It's a lot of money on the line. So if somebody says, give me your honest evaluation on the kid, and at that time that's how you felt and that was your opinion, I ain't never going to hold it against a coach for saying what they feel. You know what I'm saying? They're able to say whatever they're able to say, and people have to take their word.
Yeah. Well, good. It's good of you to take the high road on this, but whatever. I know this is no cupcake zone, so we already know what it is. Somebody threw some salt on you, basically. But what I was saying, Junior, it sounded like somebody threw some salt on you, but we ain't gonna name no names. But
nah, let me go ahead and just put it this way. No, he didn't throw no salt. What he actually did, he told the God's honest truth about who I was at that point in time in my life. He wasn't throwing no kind of salt. I was a young, cocky, asshole, arrogant kid who thought he knew more than any coach and anybody could tell him. So that coach told every university what they were about to get themselves into. And I don't blame him at all for telling the guys honest truth. Like me, you know how I was, man. I couldn't nobody tell me nothing.
A moment of clarity, Junior?
Yeah, man, I've been had that, man. I had that once I had that once I went to college and I had humbled myself to just honestly evaluate my talent and say, you know what? I know who I am. I know what I'm about. And I just had to just become ego free, man. I had an incident happen to me that humbled me in my life, and just put football and everything else in a proper perspective.
Yeah.
What it ended up doing was, from high school, Pop Warner, everybody else had the limelight. Everybody else had their own favorite football player and person that they thought was better and who they thought was this and that. So it kind of instilled me and made me have a grudge against everybody. So when you watch Junior play football, the only thing you was watching was pure aggression. You watched an aggressive kid just be aggressive, and everybody, that's all they knew was he finna throw a tantrum, he finna do this, he finna do that. But when nobody ever talked about, oh yeah, but the man done had 3 or 4 touchdowns and ran for 200-some yards and had this many tackles, everybody was always talking about the theatrics. So when I got a chance to isolate myself away from everything and went to these schools that I went to, it was number of concentration on football. And from there, I can honestly tell you, I was 10 times better in college than I was in high school at Pop Warner.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. Like, and I think I am a victim of that too, man. Like, I always knew that you were a good football player because I had first-hand knowledge of it. But the actual sideshow of Junior Denson was probably more memorable than your actual skill. You know?
Because when you go look at it, if you go number for number, everything that everybody's always said, they always said this kid was faster than me, that person was faster than me. They always said, all right, Rochinelle was the fastest kid, and I'm like, no, he's not. I just don't want to race him because that's my friend. I don't like keep competing against my friends because when I do that, believe it or not, there's some jealousy between even my group of friends that I had back in the days. They used to do stuff behind my back all the time to where it was like, you know what, Junior, just stop being so much and let other people have a spotlight. I went and directly played nose guard so it wouldn't be no competition with my friends about running the ball. You see what I'm saying? Like, I started sacrificing myself for everybody else. Because in all actuality, it was me and Renal who grew up as the running backs on the Gators. He played left halfback, I played right halfback. And that was the Gator team. He scored, then I'm a scorer. But what y'all hear about me score is Junior done scored, Junior done spiked the ball, he done fell backwards in the end zone, he done did a dance, he done did this. It was always a theatric. It was always a theatric, man.
Yeah.
Go back. And look, as a sophomore, I started varsity. My first 3 or 4 games in high school, I led the state of Florida in rushing. Come on, man. Like, nobody really come back and say, yo, this dude, out of all his class, imagine if he never gets hurt. Imagine if this don't happen. Imagine if that don't happen. So, to me, to properly put it in perspective is you had the talent to do all this. You could have done all that, but it didn't happen. That's not nothing for you to hold on to. God had a bigger calling in my life or something else. Yeah. That's why at every key point of my football career, something broke on my body. Something broke just to say, God is not going to use you for football, but you got to rethink what you're thinking about.
Yeah. You got to put that in perspective, man. You got 4 beautiful children. You know, if things would have been different, you might not have 4 beautiful children. You know what I'm saying? So exactly. you definitely have to put things in perspective. You know, besides NC State, they fell back. Who stayed committed to you and that was trying to get you?
I had, at the last minute, I had Louisville making a big push, and I had actually the University of Missouri. They had just got the new coaching staff over from Tulsa that had just came over. And
was Gary Pinkel part of it?
They were recruiting me pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So they had the new coaching staff that was coming over from Tulsa or whatnot. Hey, can you give me 1 second right quick, Johnson?
Sure.
All right, hold on.
So you said Louisville and Missouri was on you.
Yeah, I had Missouri. The whole coaching staff actually came to my house and they sat down with my dad and my mom. It was the craziest thing ever, man. My position coach at Missouri was actually about 6'7", 6'8" running back coach.
Oh, wow! How did you become a running back coach?
That's what puzzled me. He ended up, I think he was a defensive end or offensive lineman. who ended up dropping a bunch of weight, like after he stopped playing football. And back in his days, he had more knowledge about running ball than he actually about playing the lineman.
He had offensive knowledge, probably. Yeah. So, how did you end up at Elon?
Al Green and Rob Rigdon.
Were they both signed to Elon?
No, actually, Rob was at Elon, and they had I guess he was telling them about me. He had ended up calling me and asking me when he had came down, what school, and I had told him like, yo, nobody, like my phone is going dry and this and that, and he's like, no way. So he went and told the coaches at Elon about me, but they didn't know, they thought it was too high of a recruit to even consider that school. So they kind of like, Rob, we seen film on your player. You actually think he's going to come to Elon? He's like, listen, nobody's recruiting him. And they were kind of hesitant because they just knew at the last minute a bigger school was going to come in and sign me. So what happened was when Missouri had came down for the visit and home visit, they left the plane ticket and they left the itinerary for me to fly up that Friday to meet with the head coach to go ahead and commit for him and just the whole thing, see the campus, meet the advisors, meet everybody. Now, I was going to go to Missouri because I actually wanted to play in Big 12. I wanted to play I wanted to be the running, how they're known for running backs in the Big 12. I was like, I want to go compete against the Nebraska because I want to compete against the big school.
You know what's crazy? I went to college up in Kansas City. So I was in Kansas City, Missouri, and I can't remember what the guy's name was, but he was like this big time hero. I got the name is killing me, but he
Brad
went to
Smith.
this one, huh?
Are you talking about Brad Smith, the quarterback from Missouri?
Not Brad. The running back. The running back was they got this one high school down there, which is like a private school called Rockhurst. And this guy was like the biggest thing around there, and he ended up signing into Missouri. He was like one of the top running backs in the country. Can't remember his name, though. He was number 27, but he was their top recruit around that time. So you probably would have been competing with him.
Yeah, he was. They actually only took one running back in my recruiting class. The Friday that I was supposed to fly up there, Missouri came to my house on this is so funny. Missouri came to my house on a Wednesday, and Liberty came to my house on a Wednesday. Liberty University, where Al Green ended up going. So this is what happens. Liberty came to my house first, and they came and they offered me on the spot too. Actually, the coach that offered me was Bernard Clark, the starting linebacker for the Miami Hurricanes back when they had won their national championship. So he offered me a scholarship offer, and I was just telling him, like, I don't really see Liberty fitting where I want to go. He's like, you just need to think about it. He's like, listen, this Friday, your teammate Al Green, he's going to take a trip up there. You should just at least come up there with Al and see whether or not you like it. Now, I'm like, I don't know about this. I don't even want to waste my time. I'm supposed to be in Missouri. I wait for him to leave, and I call Al, and I'm like, listen, man, the coaches from Liberty just left here. They sent me a ticket to come Friday with you on the plane, but, man, I got to go to Missouri. I want to go ahead and do my thing and commit to the school. He's like, nah, man, come on, man, just come with me. I don't want to fly by myself. Al, he's kind of scared of flying and being off on his own by himself. So I'm like, this is my homeboy. I go with him. I can wait next week to catch another flight to Missouri. It's nothing. Well, I went to Liberty with Al on that trip. As soon as the plane touched down, my temperature went to 103 degrees, almost 102. I had a fever out this world. The whole trip to Liberty, I didn't even go see the campus. I only met with the coach one time, and I was in the hotel like my whole recruiting trip at Missouri, sick. At Liberty, sick. Didn't go nowhere on that campus. To come to find out that same Friday, the guy that they had offered me a scholarship and someone else.
Hi, I believe it's Bono. I'm on the list here.
So they ended up the scholarship they were going to give me. They ended up giving it to the kid that went that Friday.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Because I was wondering, why would you consider them? Because they're FBS versus Division I. Even they were in the Big 12. They had Brad Smith.
Yeah, you
Can't
had a
remember
squad,
the run.
man.
Huh?
They had a squad. Like you know how sick to my stomach I was after they told me they had signed another running back, and I was sick to my stomach.
Yeah. Jeremy
And
Maclin came out of there. A lot of people.
all of these boys.
Chase Daniels. But
Yep. They had
wow.
a good run, and that ended up happening the further along. So when they ended up calling me and telling me the next Monday when I had called them to find out about my trip for that Friday to get the itinerary or whatnot, even after I had told them that I was going to go to Liberty, they told me it's no problem. We'll just reschedule for the next week. Monday comes around, the coach tells me, listen, I tried to hint to you to come up here Friday because the coach wanted to sign you right there. By you telling us that you would go consider a trip to Liberty over Missouri, your priority is in the wrong place, young man. We went ahead and took a JUCO. They took a junior college transfer. And I'm just sitting there like, I call Al Horn to choke him, man. I said, man, they don't ever invite me nowhere else. That just spiraled, and I'm like, all right, here I am. I done wasted 2 trips. I got an open day, nothing. When I tell you it went dead. I ended up finally at the last minute, my last week for a recruiting trip, Elon calls and they ask me if I'm committed anywhere. I'm not going nowhere. Nobody ain't called me in so long. They're willing to wait after my surgery. They wanted something. I mean, they were willing to sign me knowing that I was going to have my surgery and going to have all of this and that. And they came down to Naples and told me about the school. And, at that point in time, I was like, man, I just want to go get an education.
But, like, that night before you went to Liberty, did you catch, like, the Holy Ghost or something? Because did you catch were you, like, speaking in tongues? And were you a Bible thumper?
Yo, man, I was raised, man. You got to remember, I'm raised around religion, man.
Lord. Jerry Falwell was the chancellor at that school. The guy that's like the evangelist. Do you want to hear their sales pitch for me to come to Liberty?
Lord. They knew my father was a deacon in the church. They knew my father was a deacon in the church. They knew my uncle was a pastor in another church. They knew my grandfather had founded a church too. So he got me in the office, and he's trying to pitch sell me on Liberty. He's like, listen, if you commit to Liberty, I guarantee you as a freshman, I guarantee you 20 carries, 25-plus carries a game. And when he said that, it kind of made me think. My whole high school career, Johnson, me and Dwayne, when we played together, we never got the ball more than 10 or 11 times per game.
But did he also tell you you're going to get 20 carries, but you're not allowed to have no vagina?
Yeah, he told me that. And that's why I was like, you know who you talking to? I'm Mr. Hunchman right now. You tell me I can't hold a girl hand. And my girlfriend in high school was pregnant at the time. I'm like, no, this is not going to work. You're telling me I can't do what I've already done. I got a kid on the way. I got a girlfriend. Like, we ain't married. So what am I going to do when I get to the school? Oh, we have to get married. There was so much stuff that was going on.
When you signed that commitment, there was no vagina for 4 years, right?
But I didn't commit to Liberty. That's the whole thing. I didn't even go. I ended up transferring there after my freshman year at Elon.
Oh. So when you went into Elon, did you redshirt because you were having that surgery, or did you play right away?
Well, this is what happened at Elon. It's crazy. The day after I graduated, remember I told you there was a crazy story about the University of Florida? Mm-hmm. They were recruiting me heavy in my going into my senior year, and I thought there were with a lot of the schools they had heard about my injury, so they wasn't recruiting me anymore. Well, they weren't recruiting me anymore. That's what I was under pressure. Like, all right, Florida's they're done, and they're not gonna hear anything from me. But that wasn't the case. By my name being junior, they thought that was my classification that I was in.
Oh.
Yeah. So the day that you're allowed to offer juniors scholarships is the day I graduated. That morning, and they guys tried me dead. My mother and father can tell you, it was a call from Coach Dixon and Coach Spurrier offering me a full ride to Florida.
And you were already signed with...
Already committed to Elon. I had
a verbal commitment, or you actually signed?
It was after signing day. It was after graduation. It was like I had just walked the night before across the stage. That morning, I had got a call from University of Florida. They was like, this is the time that we're able to offer incoming seniors scholarships or whatnot. It was Coach Dixon on the phone. We were talking. He's like, have you committed to any school? I was like, yeah, man, I'm a senior. I just committed to Elon University. He said, Elon? Where? He said, Denson, you finna go where? I said, I'm going to Elon. He said, man, we got a scholarship available right now. Like, he said, you can get out of your scholarship. I was like, man, at that point in time, there was turmoil going on in my house, going on with baby getting ready to come. My whole thing was like, I need to get away from Naples. I need to get away from the state of Florida. I need to get away from my family. I need to get away from everybody that was trying to dictate what school I was going to, because it started, people started arguing and family started feeling some type of way about what school I want to go to. So it was like, I'm going to make this choice on my own. I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to make this school. My whole thing about going to Elon, I was going to put Elon on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going in, they had me hyped up as this incoming freshman from Florida that the coaching staff went and found this gym, and I was supposed to do all this and that. And if you look in their first weeks of the newspaper at Elon University, I was on a couple the front page running back 2 kickoff returns. Yeah. And what ended up happening is when they finally got ready to show us the offense that we were running, they recruited.
You said in the paper they had you running a kickback?
Yeah, well, we were going it was a special teams like the first week that we got into pads. So they had the scout team, they had all the freshmen going back, and we were returning kicks against the first team kickoff team, and they just kicked the first 2. They kicked back to me. I had ran it back, and that was on the front cover of one of the papers. It was like, Elon freshman, Anthony Denson, stiff arm, and I still got the picture on my Facebook. It was me stiff arm him. He was an all Big South DB, and then there was the article the following week about the gym that they had found out of Florida, and there was all this hype coming in, put behind me. It was so much pressure, man. When I tell you I was having meetings with the AD, football coach, running backs coach, basketball coach, baseball coach, you name it. I met with all the coaches at Elon University. Everybody knew I was the freshman from Florida coming in. He's going to change the program. We go out there to practice, and the offense they showed me on the recruiting trip was not the one that we went and lined up in. They went out there and got in the wishbone, and I said, what in the hell is this?
You guys running a wishbone offense.
Wishbone, bro. Wishbone.
Wow.
I just came out of the veer to come to the wishbone. I'm like, are y'all serious? Do y'all even know who y'all recruiting? Y'all gonna put me of all people in the wishbone and not give me the open field to run and pick my lanes to run? So I said, man, y'all crazy. I'm a zone read back who just has a little bit of size on him. Y'all finna sit here and bottle me up with a lead fullback, another backer, and determine I got to wait for the quarterback to decide whether he's going to give me a ball instead of a predicated run and let me do my thing. It was a clash. It was a clash. I did not fit into the offense. Every time they put me on scout team, I dogged the first team defense out. Every practice I have had it 2 or 3 touchdowns on the first team defense. I refused to like be a part of that offense because those running backs, they were getting killed, man. I just had a shoulder surgery, just had an ankle surgery, and y'all want to run me up, talking about dive at people's feet, chop block, crazy stuff. I was like, nah, man, this is not going to fit. So many coaches was just clashing left and right. I was like, y'all got me here thinking I'm finna run one offense, and then y'all pop up with another one, and it's not conducive to what y'all recruited me for. Y'all wasting talent, and we just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. After that point in time, they was like, you know what, we're getting so much feed, like, you know what I'm saying, you're going against so much of what we're teaching, like, there's no point of you sitting here staying at this university anymore. So they said, you know what, we'll put a red shirt on you, and we'll call it a day.
So you got red-shirted.
Yeah, I got red-shirted with the notion that I wasn't going to come back to Elon.
Wow.
After we started having, like, I was getting into it with the coaches, and I'm telling them, like, first of all, and the coach that recruited me to come to Elon, they fired before I even stepped foot on campus.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a bunch. And he ended up, like, the whole story about that coach, he ends up getting fired 3 or 4 years later. They find out he's an alcoholic. He has all this stuff going on. So the whole time I'm at Elon, I'm going to the athletic director, and I'm telling him, like, listen, this coach right here, you know what he told me in this meeting? He told me this and that. And the athletic director, he's going to believe the coach over he believes over the player. It wasn't until 3 or 4 years later everything I told the AD came out in the light. By that time, I'm out of college.
Yeah. So, did you get immediately on the phone with Florida?
Actually, no. Coach Kramer was the one who was like, that's where you need to go. That's your next move. Don't waste any time. After I left at Elon. But what ended up happening was when I came home, like, my whole living situation, my life had changed upside down, and I went from being a 210-pound running back to a 175-pound wide receiver.
Why was that?
In one summer, so it was like, you know, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was getting ready. That summer I ended up meeting up with, like, Cam, Joe Scuteri, and a bunch of dudes like Ryan Hoff. And I ended up just, like, spending a couple of days at the University of Florida just kind of in the zone thinking, you know, did I have enough talent to actually come play in a university? I actually sat in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium by myself one time, man, just in the stadium, just looking at the field, imagining myself playing and questioning my talents. Like, do you even have the talent to step on this field? You're going to be wasting your time out here. And at that time, you know, I had it was doubt, man. I basically doubted myself and doubted my talent and didn't believe in myself. I had low self-esteem, and I just walked away from it and wasn't going to play football again. So my mom basically begged the coaches from Liberty to come down to Naples to talk to me about, you know, battling depression, getting my life back together and wanting to live, because I can honestly say at that point in time, man, I was suicidal, battling depression, and my life was going in a direction nobody knew what was going on. And that's one thing I hear from a lot of my friends, a lot of people. I didn't tell them, like, yo, my freshman year after college, I went into clinical depression.
Wow. That's heavy stuff, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I had no idea you were going through that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Imagine you battling back from a shoulder injury, a major reconstructive shoulder injury. You're battling back from an ankle injury. You're battling back from torn abs. You're battling back for all these ailments. To finally think, you're like, yo, you're going to finally be able to show the world that your talent. I know I got the talent to play in the league. I know the people that were backing me up in some positions in college and backing me up some places in high school, these people were getting tryouts in the NFL, and they were walking up and playing on pro teams, and I knew I had way more talent than them.
Right. So you had a point that was like a major crossroads.
Yeah,
basically.
major crossroads.
Major crossroads. And did you have like that feeling, man, you know what? All my life I've been playing this sport that my family wanted me to play.
Bingo.
And I'm
bingo.
And I really, like, football doesn't define Junior Denson. Like, I don't want to let everybody down, but I kind of want to take my control of my own life. And you living for everybody else, did that kind of, you know, weigh you down?
It did, and the point where it was like, when you try to tell people the situation that you're going through in certain things, some people don't understand it. Like, you know,
right?
They'll think it's like, oh, that whole thing was like what was with my family, was basically with my parents. They knew they had a very spoiled child that was a mama's boy. He'd get homesick real quick. So when I was in Liberty and I was trying to tell them, like, yo, listen, I need my car up here. I need certain things. I need money to be able to get to that point. They were basically thinking I'm just lying to them, doing the normal thing that a kid do. He wants more money to go party. No, I need this money to put gas in this car to be able to catch this bus. Because where I was living 15, 20 minutes outside of campus. I'm a transfer. Can't nobody give me money. I was up there on my own, and my parents was not understanding that. So I'm up there busting my behind to get on this football team. And at this time, mind you, Johnson, when I tell everybody my skills in football, Al Green and anybody that played at Liberty University and that I tag after this interview, they'll tell you one thing. I was the nastiest running back anybody had ever seen. Like, the stuff I was doing in practice, it was no way I was doing that in Pop Warner. No way I was doing that in high school. And that was me finally coming to grips with my own talent. I was playing for myself. I didn't have to hear my mom on the sidelines. I didn't have to hear my dad critiquing me what I was doing. I didn't have to hear nothing from my uncles, my grandfather, from nobody. So it was just up there in the mountains in the cold by myself, having a moment with God. Like, right before I went and played on that team, I had a spiritual awakening where I just started praying and fasting. And the people I ended up meeting, all my homeboys I met in Liberty, we still best friends to this day. And those dudes really who saved my life. If it wasn't for Liberty University, man, I don't know where I would be right now. So everybody can say what they want. In the end, that's where I should have been. That's why I tell you, God had a bigger purpose, man. Because that was a place that I had put everything together my whole life, switched and changed. Now, heading towards that, me being on the scout team, not being able to play, that's the only thing everybody kept saying was like, all right, next year when we get them on the field, we're going to watch magic. And next year came around, I was like summer school credit short. I had to pass a class. Didn't have the money to pay for it. I'm trying to tell somebody like, yo, I need this money. Once again, they don't want to listen to what I'm telling them. And this is the first time everybody's going to hear the honest truth about what happened with me in football. I'm sitting on the side of the road, or on the side of the dormitory is where we're living in. I'm just sitting on the side of the embankment, and I'm calling back home to tell them, like, yo, I need this money. This is what's going on. They tell me if I don't get this, that I'm not going to be able to play this year. And the other voice on the other end of the line told me, pack my stuff up, come home, because they're not doing nothing else. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I'm right here. Here's my dream. I'm right here. Only thing I need is this. And they just kept saying, come home, come home, come home. We're not going to do nothing. And like I said, Liberty University, their hands were tied behind their back. They couldn't give me any money. And it was what it was. I had to come home, and I can still remember Coach Sunheim, the running back from Liberty, was just like, kid, whatever you do, just stay with football. If you have to find a small school to go, you have God-given talent that we can't coach you. We can't even coach you and tell you what to do on the football field, because it was to that point where they're like, yo, he's uncoachable. He's that good that he's uncoachable right now.
Wow. So did you have to sit out that year when you transferred because of the transfer rule?
Yep, I had to sit out. I had to sit out with 4 other transfers too. Like, we ended up getting when I sat out with 4 or 5 other guys that had transferred to Liberty, and we all ended up having a house together. So, yeah,
you know who played at Liberty, and he was way after you. The guy that plays for the New York Giants now.
The running back. Yeah. There was 2 running backs, but when I was at Liberty, the guy that backed everybody up, he's the one who went to the pro. Sam Congato, the guy that played for Green Bay with Brett Favre, he came out of that class. That's how I'm trying to tell you. The people that I played with, Sam Cone used to ask me after practice, like, yo, how do you set up the defender to get him leaning one way and you cut back the other way? How do you know when to cut back, and how do you know when to spin? How you know when to do these things? Like, I used to be after practice with this man, showing him, like, hey, this right here, that right there, this was going on. We'd be in film. I'd be like, yo, he was very smart, too, so film.
Yeah, I heard he was a great person because he's from Africa.
Nigeria.
He's actually studying to be a doctor, and I think his dream is to go back to Africa to perform medicine basically for free.
Yeah, Sam deserved it. When it comes to somebody who deserves everything they got, that kid was about his nation. He was about his people. The NFL and all that was nothing more than notoriety for the cause that he had. He had a bigger purpose. Like that, he was the kid that always. He's the one who finally like put it into my head, like, oh, you're living for something bigger than yourself, man. Because even then, at that time, after I had went to Liberty, I'm trying to tell you, like, I get my life straight. I still had that ego on the football field to where, I thought I was the best. So he's like, man, listen, Denson, like, out of all the running backs, you are the best. But the thing that's going to hurt you is you got to really be humble. You got to have a bigger purpose. Like, really, why are you playing this game? Because every morning you're going to have to wake up and do this. Every night you're going to have to wake up and do this. And when he made me think about that, like, what was my purpose and why I was playing,
Right.
I was like, dang, he right. If it ain't no passion and no serious purpose or why you have to be motivated to make that into a career, leave it alone because you're playing with your life on the line.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like you're pretty, happy, with the path that you went. Was it kind of was it kind of frustrating you at the time you're going through all this depression and these things that are happen, which they happen all the time with people, and that's why, like, for me, for instance, like, I'm not afraid to tell people if I'm going through some stuff, because it's like there's a stigma attached to somebody that's going through a difficult time, like depression, because there's a lot of subconscious things that just happen that you don't have any control over. Like, does it frustrate you sometimes? Like, when you go through that stuff, people give you the stigma of being crazy or lunatic or whatever, and it's just depression?
I think what it whole is, you got to remember, like, our community, being from not only African American community, but also in the Haitian community, we frown upon mental illness. We always think we got the answer for everything. And me, it was my ego. Like, me, man, I'm junior, pretty boy, got all this thing. Everybody think I got everything in life. I'm spoiled. I got everything. Everybody want all the toys, all the video games, everything, all the shoes, all the clothes. So the only thing everybody knows is this kid got everything. What would he possibly be depressed about? So when I go start telling people, like, my problems and everything, but Junior, you got so much of everything. What can you really be mad about? And then that makes you, like, not want to open your mouth, so you become sheltered. You don't want to tell anybody. You want to say, all right, I'm going to just hold it all in and I'm going to deal it with myself. And people don't know isolation and not expressing yourself. That's the form of suicide. That's what's insane about having a mental illness. You can't self-heal yourself because you don't know even where to start and begin with. Yeah. And a lot of times, it's just people don't want to admit that they have problems because they don't want anybody to see them outside of the image of everybody already knows them. Like, I had teammates that played on my team. I ain't going to say no names, that people are still wondering around. They're calling them crazy and all this and that. It's because of their actions. They're not willing to step out and be something besides themselves. Every time you talk to them, they're always talking about football. They're going out for tryouts. They're going to do this. And you have to go, man, you're 30-some years old.
Right.
I don't look at you as a football player no more. I look at you as a homeboy, somebody that needs to go get a job, needs to go have his family. You need to be established. This football mess, it's crazy that you're still holding on to it. Nobody sees you as that anymore but yourself.
Right.
And that's what some people have wrapped themselves up in the happiest moments of their lives, and that's all they say there. They don't want to deal with reality.
No, you know what? That makes a lot of sense, man, because, that's one thing. If I ever have a son, I will not allow a particular thing to define who they are. Some people are nothing. But I mean, when it comes to the real world, their whole identity is based on this person playing football. Everything else doesn't matter. And I think that's a dangerous, path to take, because every time I do these interviews, my whole perception of that person's life always changes. I always think, man, this guy had it made. All he had to do is just keep the path or stay the course. Everything was all gravy. There's real things that happen in life that sometimes you're just not prepared for. And long as you're living, breathing, and and happy, at the end of the day, that's all you can hope for. All those millions and dollars and fame and all that, sometimes that'll kill you quicker than anything. You know?
Don't think You don't think after everything that happened to me, I said, God, thank you, I ain't make it nowhere. Thank you, I didn't get that money. Me at that age, come on, I'm already trying to buy dunks, trying to buy rims in high school. You remember my car? I'm trying to have the flashiest car. I'm trying to have the biggest necklace. I would have been broke the day after I'd have quit football, the professional football. I would have been broke back in the hood, walking up and down 14th Street or walking up and down 5th Avenue North, going to the corner store, going back into the projects. That would have been me. That would have been the story. I'm glad I'm not that story. I'm glad I'm somebody that got a different story, a different perspective.
Yeah.
Like that, to define on anything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
That whole football, that's 19, that's 18, that's part of my life that's way back.
Right. No, it's I like hearing about the journey because my personal journey was a lot of twists and turns. Like, wow. But looking back, I was like, man, if this would have never happened and this would have never happened, I would not be the person I am today. But you know, it's interesting. it's very interesting, man. So, man, talk about life after football, man. Was it when you finally flew home? I mean, did you feel free?
Oh, when I finally flew home, I actually kind of lingered around Virginia and the Tampa area for a little bit. I didn't just come straight back home because I was kind of running from that whole, I didn't want people every time they see me asking, right. Junior, hey, why you not playing football? Oh, what school you went to? Like, those are questions I was avoiding, so I didn't really come right back home. I kind of came back for a little bit. Nobody knew I was in Naples for a good 5 or 6 months, and then I ended up taking off to Tampa to go live, just going back up and down the road between Naples and Tampa for a year or two, and then I came back and just settled in Naples. I had a couple opportunities while I was trying to start a nonprofit organization with my cousin and a few of my friends, and basically what I wanted to do was I wanted to start a performing arts school for talented kids in Naples that were big into the arts and also big into athletics, because that was my life. A lot of things people don't know about me is like, I used to be, and I was in a Broadway musical. I was in an opera, actually the most famous opera or black opera in the history. I was in it at the Philharmonic. Like when it came to Naples, that used to be me. I used to act on stage and used to be in plays and wanted to be behind TV and wanted to be behind the camera. Like I always had different aspirations in my life than just playing football.
Hey, hold on, Junior. Hey, were you a rapper before?
Yeah.
What was your rap name, dog?
Junior, man.
Oh, man.
Just Junior.
So you were a rapper, dog.
Listen, everybody can laugh all day. Everybody can laugh, but the group that I was in, it was called Bonafide at Liberty, and we was like the Roots band.
Oh, really?
Listen, my backup singer in my band, he's on stage right now singing behind Justin Bieber and Beyonce. He's their main lead vocalist, backup singer. So, the talent that I had in my group, it ain't no joke. I know I can rap. I know I got talent. So,
I thought you was a trap rapper.
Nah, man, what a rap
Junior
about
Thug? Were you Junior Thug?
I was rapping about God.
You wasn't Junior Thug?
Man, no, man.
You didn't have no
called me back when I was
Rich Homie Quan?
What?
You didn't have no songs with Rich Homie Quan and Gucci Mane?
Nah, no Gucci, man. I couldn't stand down south rappers back in the days, man. I was always up New York. You had to Jay-Z, give me the Locks. You got to give me something like that. Or if it was down south, it had to be Phil Mob, Outkast. It had to be them rappers that lyricism. I couldn't listen to all that. Shoot 'em up, bang bang. Hold this nigga, hold my nuts. No, shut up.
No, like chicken, whoa.
I can't stand that shit. What are you teaching, man? That's what hip hop about. That ain't what rap about. I grew up on KRS One, the Boogie Down Production, Cool Mo D, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, LL. I listen to that mess, man.
Yeah. So you were in performing arts, man. Interesting. So
yeah.
Were you classically trained, or you just kind of did it?
Well, you remember Miss Leon, right?
Yeah.
Miss Leon is kind of somebody who saved me from myself. as a kid growing up, I got in a lot of trouble, and nobody could understand why I was lashing out. And it just happens to be at the time that my father had left my life. So I went from every day being in the home with my mother and father, my sisters, and having this particular lifestyle and living this way to my father being gone and me house. And I started lashing out in school, lashing out everywhere I went, and everybody thought I was a bad kid, and nobody got a chance to know me. Ended up having Leon for a teacher, and Miss Leon was just like, I've heard the whole story about you. You like to get in trouble, you like this, and you like that. Well, you're not going to have it in my class. And I thought I could get over on Miss Leon until she pulled that ruler out on me.
She broke one on me before.
I know. She broke one on all of us. She beat me, and when she had beat my behind, she would sat me down. She said, now you finna do your work. I came right back up to her desk like 30 seconds or a minute later with all my work done. So that's the fastest I'd ever seen anybody do some work. So she went and graded it, and she was like, she knew I had everything right. And she was like, something ain't right. They keep talking about how bad you are, but I think I know what's wrong with you. And they end up taking me to the guidance office, and they ended up testing me for gifted. And that's when they just found out, oh, he's bored with the curriculum that you're putting him through, so you're going to have to put him in gifted classes, always have him active and always have him involved in something. And that's when she just told me, you know what, you like to act out, you like to be the class clown, I got a place to take you. And she just told me one day to have my stuff ready at 4:30, and she's going to pick me up from my house. Then she took me to the Philharmonic, and that was
Man, you know what? That's crazy you said that. They tried to do the exact opposite to me in elementary and middle school, actually middle school. They basically tried to put me on a pathway to the prison. No, that's what they do. I mean, it's real deep
it's a known
stuff.
Fact.
Is your mom was probably heavily involved in the school system and stuff like that, like your life.
Oh, yeah.
See, I mean, I grew up. My parents were Haitian, so there wasn't really involved in that type of stuff because it wasn't, English was a second language. Many times I had to translate, but I remember, man, because I used to be real bored, and I would be like the class clown, always laughing. And what they tried to diagnose me with was being emotionally handicapped. So
I don't mean to cut you off, but for anybody listening right now, if you're a minority, do you know that's the number one thing that they try to label young African American boys or Hispanic boys is having mental disabilities and having mental issues, and they don't never just simply just say, the way I'm teaching my class doesn't relate to them because I'm not personal with this student and I don't invest any type of time in them.
Right. No, that's exactly what they tried to do. And in the whole time, there's nobody sticking up for me because whatever the teachers say, whatever the school system, some little specialists that they come in and diagnose you with anything that they want to diagnose you with, you have to believe them. So what they do is they take your whole, they take you out of regular classes. Instead of college prep type stuff, they slow you down and basically you act out and you go right to the path of the prison. Basically getting suspended all the time, fighting all the time, because when you have a young kid that's full of energy and can express himself in a constructive way, what do? You result to violence. That way they can throw more labels on you. They can have the right to do more things to you to put you on that path to the prison. But luckily I got out of it. And one of the reasons I got out of it was football. And that's one I'm grateful for.
You know what happened to me in Carter County? At 7th grade, I had got kicked out of Gulfview. They sent me to New Beginnings for a year, or I want to say there was about 2 or 3 months. I was at New Beginnings and Portable by myself. Now imagine when I left Gulfview in the 7th grade, I was in all advanced and gifted classes. I went to New Beginning. There was no advanced and gifted teacher to teach me at New Beginnings. They left me with all my books and all my curriculum that I had to learn on my own, submit my work to them to then be graded by other teachers from other schools. I taught myself for a year, and I still got the records and everything to prove what I'm telling everybody. I made straight A's in the gifted program for a year by myself without having a teacher, and being locked in a classroom by myself in a portable on Barron Carter and campus. Me and one other ISS teacher sitting there making sure that I was doing my work.
Right. Yeah. So they didn't know how to manage you. So what they did was they threw a whole bunch of labels on you to justify isolating you, and that was basically solitary confinement. That's path to the prison.
Yep.
Everything that they do with those type of reform schools and all that stuff, if you look at it, it replicates prison, basically.
It does.
It
represents.
Yeah.
Look at the structure at New Beginning. They have a program called the Junior Mustangs where they try to teach them disciplinary, they try to structure them into a more civilized society by implementing an Army or JROTC type program from all the students to teach them discipline. I'm like, you're programming a bunch of kids to stop thinking for themselves. Right. One day go and fight in this army for unjust reasons, unjust causes, and these kids are already being manipulated by this man's agenda who's running the school. What are you really doing to address the home life situation of that kid, his educational problems? Everything is based upon your whole philosophy and ideology, and it's not individualized to help the person that needs it, and that's the individual child. You try to sum them up all together. Everybody's household ain't the same. Everybody's story ain't the same.
Yeah. And I love when in back in high school when they used to throw those cats in those prison camps for 6 months. They shave their hair and they, basically teach them how to be a prisoner. And you remember those boot camps that they had? Those basically get them. Yeah.
And all the kids that came out of them, how many of them went to prison? How many of them disappeared from Naples? All of them. How many of them disappeared from Naples and went to schools like Glenville? What happened to Terrence Morgan? What happened to Andre? What happened to all these boys that had to leave Naples and go to these schools? Where are they at right now?
They're all it's sin. It was basically they disguised it as trying to help these kids. No, it wasn't that. It was a pathway to prison. It's basically a pathway to prison, and it's proven. But that's a little bit heavier topic.
We can get into it, man. That's another thing. My background too is in kind of activism too, being a social activist. Taking after my father. My father was the president of the NAACP for a while, and he always wanted to fight for civil rights and fight for minorities or whatnot. So a big part of me is always understanding what's being done to me as a young black man and as a minority, and not just always looking at the world in that perspective, but no, the world is looking at me in that perspective.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's the thing. It's when people especially black people like us speak up and. Not, I would say read between the lines, but we see our third eyes see things. Because the world is a chess. It's a chessboard. We get accused of being militant or paranoid or racist and stuff like that. No, I see it. I'm not blind. I know some of this stuff is not meant for me to see or me to understand, but I understand this. I can take an objective look and say, you know what, this is some bullshit, and you guys trying to dress it up just like if you try to put lipstick on a pig. It's still a fucking pig. You can't tell me it ain't not a pig.
Listen to this. This is about America. Just in the 60s, in the 70s, y'all was turning dogs on black people. Y'all was taking dogs and fire hoses and denying us our civil rights and putting us in the Jim Crow era. That's it. That's all in my mother's lifetime. My mother just had, you know what I'm saying? This is in my mother's lifetime. That was when she was growing up. My mother had to grow up through that. Now I'm her son and being raised by a woman who went through the same thing.
Yeah.
I was here, but I spoke.
Boy, I mean, we're getting heavy on the political stuff, man. This is no cupcake zone. Man, before I let you go, man, what you got to plug, man? Businesses, shout outs, anything, man.
Yeah, man, I would really appreciate it right now. Me and my fiance, hold on 1 second. I'm echoing right now. Right now, me and my fiance, we actually we have our own business. It's a organic cosmetic line, and we sell just about everything. It's called Yummy Delicious. So if you can catch us on Facebook or you just follow me on Facebook, you'll see me posting and updating all the time. And anything you want to know, man, inbox me. I'm free. And basically that's where I'm at right now, to become an independent entrepreneur with me and my fiance, working his family life and taking care of the kids.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the boys that played and able to put Carter County on the map. And, man, big shout out to you, man. Like, people don't even know. You probably one of the first Haitian dudes to bridge the gap between the Haitians and the Yanks back before it was all beef.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, okay. The only thing I have to do is give you a last name.
Say what?
Yeah, just give your last name. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Nah, that's cool. But yeah, you got that business, man, and you got your coaching. You guys, what'd you guys finish this year?
Oh yeah. I'm meant to tell you, I'm back coaching at the Gators, man. We actually we went to the championship game this year. We lost in the championship. I think we were 9-2. I coached the U8 Gators. Now they've gone to a different format. It's not Pop Warner. Unlimited weight, and they basically go by, the age groups and whatnot. And I'm out there with me and D. Boykin, man. We trying to tell everybody, man, if you play football, you did anything looking to give back, man, come back and give back to these kids, man. That's what's missing in Carter County. There's no more pageantry at Fleshman. The crowds ain't what they used to be, and it's because people don't want to come back. People rather sit home and be depressed and do all that. Man, give back to these kids. Keep it real with them. Save somebody's life. Save yourself. Some people out here that's going through it, you will save yourself by coming out here and volunteering with these kids, man. Just come out anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out in Fort Myers right now. I don't know too many people out here, man. I was thinking about, next year, at least going to volunteer, man. Spread some knowledge. Maybe I can, coach up the next Warren Sapp.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I know right now, we've always said, to reach one, to teach one is to reach one, and I always live by this motto. My nonprofit organization, I'm going to try to, one day, hopefully, with this business, I'll be able to get enough money started. But the nonprofit organization I had in mind, it was called Team for Life, meaning together, everyone achieves more for life. And I was basically telling everybody, y'all want to know what was so special about that 1996 Naples Gator team and how we changed football?
Yeah.
We were a team for life, man. We were a band of brothers who were willing to sacrifice for each other. Until a group of people are willing to get together and say, hey, we finna sacrifice for whatever we got to do for the good of the man standing next to us, you won't never see that replicated again. There will never be another 96 Gators. Until you can get 5 or 6 running backs, 7 or 8 running backs or all-stars that say it don't matter where you put us on the football field, we just want to play together, you'll never see it. Until these parents stop trying to dictate their kids where they're going to go high school and stop running from certain systems and running from competition, you're never going to see the potential of having a team for life, man.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on, People got too much freedom. You don't have to compete anymore. All you got to do is just
go to a school.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't understand is, how are these old legends at schools like Naples High School? How you sending your son to Laley? How you sending your son to Golden Gate? How you sending your son to Barron College? Y'all talk about Coach Kramer's philosophy like Naples High School. How you sending your son to Laley? How you sending your son to Golden Gate? How you sending your son to Barron College? Y'all talk about Coach Kramer's philosophy I'm looking at one person. I ain't gonna say no names, but I'm like, your son don't fit this offense. I don't know what quarterback or athlete ever in the history of Curry County fits the Veer better than your son. And it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, Naples could win state. I'm telling you, Naples could win states next year if two players and their parents and their daddies, they just woke up and just realized what it is in front of them. Make your son go compete. Make him go compete to a school. You send him to every other place but the place they need to be at.
Yeah.
Send them on home to that pipeline. Send them on over there to Coach Dollar and Coach Kramer.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna do nothing but put them in the best position to make them out the players better than the high school coach you got down here right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole landscape has changed quite a bit, man. In the last couple of years, you know. I mean, the balance of power is like, I think it's evened out quite a bit. I mean, even though Naples has a stronghold on everything right now, you know, you have quite, like Palmetto Ridge was decent. Even community school was decent. FBA was decent. Man.
No, they're not. I'm coming on record and I'm going to tell all y'all, these teams are garbage. I've seen them play live. You got to understand, they manipulating the schedules to play teams that make them look better than what they are.
So you don't think they're good?
Hell no, because I know football. Yeah. I know football. Just like this year, I had a bunch of people in Naples telling me that Charlotte was going to give Naples a game. I tell them, no, you don't. You have to understand football. On the first snap in football, watch how a team comes off the ball, and you can tell whether or not they're the real deal or not. If every 11 men ain't firing to the football and assignment is on point, you know where they stand. Yeah. And I can sit there with half of these teams and watch how they come out and say, if this team would be in front of you, and this team, I could take an FBA team, for instance, or St. John Newman. I can go put them up against a Dunbar team that may not be all that disciplined, but have all the athletes to stop everything they're doing. Yeah. They don't play certain teams to be able to expose them, to be able to expose what they are, and that's what I don't like. Play the teams. FBA, y'all a private school, y'all been doing all this. Why haven't y'all not played Naples? Why haven't y'all played the big dogs? Why haven't St. John, why haven't y'all ventured in playing these other teams? It's because you have a brand of football, and by you isolating yourself in Naples, you can say, hey, I'm FBA. I'm winning just like Naples. I'm community school. I'm winning just like Naples. So you can get a kid or a parent that's not informed of competition and competitiveness and understand your scheduling, and you can get them to come to your school. But once they come to your school, they're going to get a hindsight and realize that coach, that college, that Division I program ain't never coming over here to watch us because they know that there's no competition at the school you're going to.
Right. So they're kind of doing their players an injustice. By not playing, you know, this good level of competition, because when they do play that level of competition, even if they lose a game, their standout players will get found, basically.
Yeah. What happened in Naples? Coach Kramer took all the teams that was just basically going to fill up the schedule and not offer us any. He took them off the schedule. Something to schedule teams that's going to make y'all compete. So when it comes down to the playoffs, y'all have a realistic expectation of what y'all getting ready to face.
Right.
This is like playing Pop Warner in '96 and then getting ready to go to high school. You thinking you the man? You think you the big player? And you go to high school. There's no weight limit. There ain't no such thing as a 5'10", 145-pound running back. No, they 6'2", 210, 225 pounds. It's an eye-opening experience when you deal with reality.
Yeah. Oh man, dog, we've been here chopping it up for a while, man. But anyways, man, we about to I gotta go pay attention to the wifey before she chokes me out a little bit later. But
you know how it goes.
Yeah, I know how it goes. But anyways, man, Junior, thank you for coming on No Cupcake Zone. You the true essence of the show. You kept it 1,000.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you, man. Anybody else coming on the show, keep it 100. Let everybody know what's real. You
Yeah.
ain't got to hide nothing.
Hey, man, bigs ups to you again, man. Thank you again, man. I'm out.
All right, Jay. Be easy, man.
Be easy, though.